Welcome back to the Gun Dungeon, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at 10mm again. I know I do a lot of 10mm videos, but this one's going to be geared more so to kind of address some of the questions and comments I've got on several of the past videos regarding 10mm. And this is going to have everything to do with using 10mm for self-defense, for personal carry. Smallest one that I know of is this Glock 29, so that's what we're going to be looking at. I can conceal carry this gun with little issue, same size as a Glock 30. A lot of people carry a Glock 30, which is 45 ACP. It's the exact same size as that. I do have some modifications to this one. As I said, I do carry it sometimes. I have some Trigicon sights on it, night sights, lone wolf barrel in it, and really that's about it. I don't like to change a whole lot on a gun that I'm going to carry, but the lone wolf barrel, if you've watched my videos before, you see why I went with the lone wolf barrel as opposed to the factory barrel. But when we're going to talk about 10mm, we have to talk about it in the perspective of using full house 10mm loads. So that's what we're going to be talking about as we go along. When we're talking about concealed carry in 10mm, we're talking about full power loads. I know you can get weaker factory ammo, such as this SIG Elite Performance ammo, 180 grain jacketed hollow point. It's kind of tamed down a little bit, but if you're going to do that, then why not carry a 40? If we're going to look at 10mm as carrying it with a diluted round, you're in 40 Smith & Wesson ranges, but you're going to carry a 10 and you're hurting yourself by not opening up to the 40 caliber platforms. Like if you bought a 27 as opposed to a 29, you're going to get a slightly smaller handgun that's a little bit easier to conceal. So as I said, the Glock 29 is a little thicker, but it's not undoable when it comes to actually concealed carry, and I carry inside the waistband. I don't have an issue with that. It's a little heavier, so like I said, if you're going to go 10, go full power 10s. Otherwise, go to a 40 Smith & Wesson if you want those types of ballistics. So just to kind of prove that point a little bit, what I'm going to do, I have the chronograph set up here. I'm going to run some of these full power loads, 10mm, through the chronograph. We can take a look at those velocities. Then we're going to run some of these SIG Performance 180 grain jacketed hollow point 10mm through it. Then we're going to also use some Federal Premium 40 Smith & Wesson. This is 180 grain HST, so we'll be looking at 180 grain bullets across the board here, and we're just going to see how much of a difference it is between premium 40 Smith & Wesson ammo and what they would call premium 10mm factory ammo. There's a lot of factory ammo out there, Underwood, Double Tap, people like that make good 10mm, full house 10mm. This just isn't one of them in my opinion. So let's just go ahead and run them through the chronograph, see how they stack up, and then we'll talk about a few other things. All right, so I'm set up downrange with the chronograph. I got a camera down there, but the light's not playing well with me. I don't know if that camera's gonna be able to pick up the reading on the chrono, so I'll set this camera up back here and call the numbers out as we go, just in case it doesn't. Starting off with the full power 10mm loads, so we get an idea of how fast a 180 grain bullet should be going from a 10mm. $12.22. Error. $11.69. Throw one more in there, try to get that third round. Hang on, one more. Told you the sun's not playing nice today. 11.27. All right, so now keep in mind this is a short barrel. Out of a 5-inch, those loads are going to be going much faster. But same barrel, same gun, SIG 180 grain Elite. $11.22. Error. 1109. try one more. $11.27. Okay, so there's not a huge gap there. Some of the hotter rounds were down around the same as the SIG, so the SIG's not too bad, I don't guess. Now here will be the trick. These are 40 cal, 40 Smith & Wesson Federal HST 180 grain. 976. 964. 971. So we see the 40s in the 900s. The Federal or the SIG Elite was lower 11s. We had a little bit warmer with the full power loads, but they're fairly close. Now here's something else I want to show you real quick. So I'm in front of the steel targets now. I've got the full power loads back in the Glock 29. In this part, I want you to pay attention to the recoil impulse and the muzzle flip. I'm just going to fire 3 rounds. You can take a look at it, get an idea for yourself. So hopefully you can tell in that. I can definitely feel it. I'm holding a good firm grip on it, so it's trying to not let it rise a whole lot. Let me try the SIG Elite and see if there's a difference. All right, I got the SIG Elite loaded up, 180 grain. See if you can tell a difference. Felt pretty stout. It didn't feel as stout as those blue dot loads, but now let's take a look at the 40. All right, 40 cal, Federal HSTs in here. Considerably lighter. All right, so what I have here now is I have the Glock 29 in my hand, and I also have a Beretta Nano 9mm. This is the smallest 9mm that I own. It's considerably smaller than this 29 in all aspects. Height, length, weight, width, it's considerably smaller. So let's take a look at the recoil impulse from a gun much smaller than the 29, but chambered in 9mm. This is also loaded with Winchester Defend ammo. It's a premium ammo. It's not, I'm not wasting a bunch of HSTs out here, but it is a premium ammo, so it's not just junky range fodder. So let's shoot 3 shots here. Considerably lighter than anything 10mm. Well, let's sit down here and have a little chat about what we just saw and what the point is that I'm trying to prove is right here. You may be wondering, why are we doing all this? We know 10mm is hotter than 40. We know 40 is hotter than 9mm, subjectively. We know that smaller guns carry easier. Well, like I said, this goes back to a lot of comments and a lot of questions that I've had about carrying 10mm. And one of the main things that keep coming up is, well, the 10mm is too powerful for concealed carry. It over penetrates too much. It has too much recoil. Well, in the response to over penetration, that is all going to be completely subjective on which bullet you choose to carry. All bullets perform totally differently. If you go back and look at the 10mm ballistics gel test I did, I'll put a link to it. You'll see we got everything from, 30 some inches of penetration with a hollow point, all the way down to 8 inches of penetration with a hollow point. So you have a huge selection there on what you want that round to do based on what bullet you choose to carry. So when I hear things like, well, yeah, it's good for woods defense or bear carry, it is. Not going to discredit that at all. It is. But if you choose the right ammo, it's also good for concealed carry in personal defense situations. Now, the too much recoil. You saw yourself, it does have recoil. Now, this is a struggle that I have found with me carrying the 10mm, is when I practice with it, I'm considerably slower with follow-up shots, carrying my 10mm with actual 10mm rounds in it, full power loads. I'm considerably slower on follow-up shots. But that same idea can be put on 357 Magnum. And you never hear anybody say 357 Magnum is too much for concealed carry, because it's the same boat. It's what round you choose to carry in a 357 Magnum. 357 Magnum is fine for woods defense. It can over penetrate just as easy as anything else. But we also know that the 125 grain 357 Magnum for a long time was known as the man stopper. Kind of the same thing with 10 millimeter. If you choose your rounds correctly, it can be very, very potent for self-defense. But what level are you willing to put in the training, to put in the effort, put in the time that it's going to take to be able to get past that strong recoil, to get past that sharp sting in the palm of your hand recoil impulse that really gets your attention? Are you willing to train and get faster at your follow-up shots? Because if you're not, I would highly recommend go to a 40 or even a 9 millimeter. If you're not going to put the time in to carry 10 millimeter and carry it efficiently to where your second shots could wind up 4 foot away from the target because of a flinch you've now developed shooting full power 10 millimeter, then I advise don't carry a 10 millimeter. Now, if you're willing to put in the work and get good at it, it is a fantastic carry round. The Glock 29 is a fantastic carry gun. It just works. It's slightly larger than a 26. It's kind of closer to a 19 size, but a lot of people carry Glock 19s all the time. A lot of people carry full-size 1911s, and if that's what you have in a 10 millimeter, then you're probably going to have a little less problem with the recoil impulses. You're going to have a heavier gun. But there's so many variables that go into what you're going to carry, especially in 10 millimeter. There's so many variables. But I just wanted to put this information out there, kind of talk about it a little bit, and clear up some of the questions. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as always, guys, stay tuned.